Welcome to another episode of the Off Market Operator, guys, with your host, Ruud-Johnson. Today's show, we go over the core 4 tenets of why you might be failing in your real estate business and why you're not where you think you should be in your company. As always, these shows are short, they're action-packed, and they're meant to be actionable. Whether you are on the treadmill, in the car, on a walk, whatever you are doing, they're meant to be consumed and implemented. Keyword implemented. You guys should listen to the show and then go and implement this stuff in your company. So without further ado, let's get right into the episode. People don't fail at real estate because they suck. They fail because there's too many ways to succeed. That's why I suggest you focus on the most important skill in all of real estate, which is finding deals. I'm Ruud-Johnson, and in this podcast, I share the exact steps I've used to source 400 deals by age 24. This will allow you to do 3 things: control your deal flow, make unlimited income, and build your empire as an off-market operator. In this episode, you guys are talking about why you can't get ahead in your business. And I hear from a lot of people who they're going about chasing down deals. They're brokers or they're investors, they're flippers, they're developers, they're wholesalers. And they just feel like no matter what they do, no matter how many deals they do, no matter how many marketing touches they do, no matter how many people they hire, they just cannot get ahead. And, guys, at the end of the day, business is simple. And there's something called the Solomon paradox. And Solomon paradox is essentially it's a bunch of it's a psychological study that was done. It's a real study that was done, and it was studying people in relation to what the advice that they give versus what they actually did in their own life, and it showed how humans how poor our decision making is, and how poorly we follow the advice that we give other people when there is emotions involved, and we're all emotionally attached to our businesses, whether we want to be or not, because it's tied to our finances. Our finances tied to our life, our relationships, what we do, and so the reality is. We all know what to do, but none of us are doing it. And I get a couple DMs a day, or emails, or tweet DMs. DMs come in from my team, or questions in our communities, or people that I coach all the time. And at the end of the day, no one is quite where they want to be. And the number one reason that none of us are quite where we want to be is because we aren't zooming out. What I mean by that is you guys are watching this, you're in the day-to-day of your business, you're making the cold calls, you're doing the deals, you're going to the job sites. In order to run a business, instead of just do daily busyness, you have to slow down. And unfortunately, what that means for a lot of people is for a while, your income will take a step back. And I'll give you a real life example of this. About April of 2023, so earlier this year, it's now September when I'm recording this. Earlier this year, I left a partnership. I had a partnership in real estate for a long, long time. And we ended on what I'll say is fairly good terms. And we ended back in April, and we went our separate ways. And the main reason was because I knew internally we were doing deals, we were making money, but I just never felt like we could get ahead. And I needed to slow down and step back and look at the business, the skills I was missing, the resources I was missing, and what had to happen to take the business to the next level. Because every single business, you guys, there's consistent plateaus in business at different revenue ranges, right? You're going to have different plateaus at 0 to 500K, 500K to $1 million, $1 million to 2 million, 2 million to 3 million. And we had 1 year we done 3.3 million in revenue. And I had breakfast with a guy this morning, Greg, a buddy of mine who's moving out of San Diego. So we had breakfast, and one thing that came up is bottom line profit. And you need to build your business based on bottom line profit, not revenue. Okay. At the end of the day, if you are consistently worried about top line revenue, but not bottom line revenue, you're doing cash-based accounting, you don't actually know what your net is, you will get into trouble month after month after month. And what I found is there's just not as much profit as you guys think left over in a lot of businesses. And that's why people don't succeed for a long time. I've met guys who have 4 partners, 5 partners, 3 partners in a real estate business. And a lot of it comes down to not wanting to be lonely. So the first thing that I would say everyone needs to do is slow down and step back, even if that makes you less money temporarily. You need to slow down and systematize. You need to slow down and delegate, slow down and hire a virtual assistant, slow down and go to a mastermind, slow down and fill the resource and knowledge gaps that you need to fill. Because if you don't, nothing's going to change. And the real question to ask yourself, and I like to play out this thought exercise, if you were not attached to your business, if you put your business on paper, your problems on paper, the things you think you're running into on paper, and you were to give yourself advice knowing that wouldn't impact your income, what would you tell yourself to do with that business? And you'll find a lot of the answers there in that. And a lot of businesses, you guys, a lot of the high leverage stuff that's done in a business to scale isn't responding to emails and Slack messages. It's when you're on the golf course, you're on vacation, you're in the hot tub, and you have that one insight, that one hire, that one strategy you need to implement. And the execution is the daily work that has to get done. But a lot of the high level decision makings happen when you step back and slow down. So the first thing is, don't be scared to slow down and step back, and actually don't even be scared to have revenue drop off a little bit in order to really figure out what drives bottom line profit and what you need to be focusing on in your business, to hire, to delegate, to systemize. What do you need to learn? What resources, what people, what do you need to fill those gaps? Second thing is, don't be lonely. Don't let loneliness be the reason you partner with people. I've taken on a lot of partnerships, you guys, over the years that were, for more than anything, loneliness. I didn't want to do the thing by myself over time because business is emotional, business is hard, and I didn't want to show up every single day and rely solely on my own energy for that. And that was a mistake I made early on in my career. I still have really good partnerships in several of my companies, and it comes down to partnership out of need and necessity, not just out of loneliness. The second thing is, if you guys are getting into real estate, you're already in real estate, I've seen so many success stories with partnerships, but also so many failures of guys that partner out of pure, they don't want to be lonely, and they have 3-4 partners. Even if they do $2 million a year, there's not enough meat on the bone to go around and pay everyone what they want to make in their business. So the second thing is loneliness. And the third thing, you guys, that I think people just have to understand when it comes to business is, if you're an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur, and it is my belief that you can learn the skill set of being a CEO and a business owner and how to build a business and what hires to make and how to hire and process and systems, but you can't really learn internal drive. And there's two mind frames that I found: people I hire, people that I work with, people I coach. You have an entrepreneur and an entrepreneur. And an entrepreneur is someone that wakes up with a drive every single day to create, no matter what. They have this internal clock and they feel guilty if they don't get X amount of things done in a day. Then you have intrapreneurs, guys, where they thrive with organization. They thrive with some commands. They thrive with a path laid out for them a little bit. And so understanding your psychology, are you an entrepreneur where you have that internal drive? If so, you can go build a $10+ million company. And I'm not saying if you're an entrepreneur, you can't. I'm just saying you want to understand what your personal skill set is, what you thrive in, and then fill your needs in your life around that. Because I'm telling you, if you are not a guy that internally wants to, or a guy or gal that wants truly to run a $10 million company, even if you're making $1 million a year from that company, when you get to a $10 million company and you're making the $1 million a year, it's not going to make you enjoy life more. Okay, because your day-to-day responsibilities don't align with who you are. Some people can handle stress better than others. Some people can handle anxiety better than others. Some people can hire naturally better than others. And so you want to really pay attention to what your core strengths are. And I'll give you an example of, I heard this morning on a podcast. It was a venture capital guy talking about the companies he buys. And when he buys a company, invests in a company, a lot of times he'll move the CEO from a CEO position to a CFO or CRO or CMO or a different role in the organization that's more aligned with who they are, and that reduces their stress and improves the company. And so if you're running a company and you think you are the best sales guy ever, you have to be really honest with you and know if you aren't. So the third thing is really self-understanding. It's emotional maturity. It's understanding and awareness of who you are as a person, and not doing this thing because it's flashy and you see people on Instagram doing flips and that's sexy to you, but actually because what lights you up in the day to day. Okay. And I've had to find that for myself, because I'm one of those guys where I want to be in the office 12 hours a day if I can, but realizing what my role is much higher level. It's insights. It's who we're hiring. It's what kind of strategy we're deploying. It's what consultants we need to bring in, what vendors we bring in. It's how do we grow the company outside of just me responding to emails and Slack messages. I had to learn that the hard way. And there's a lot of things you're going to have to learn the hard way. That's the next thing. So partnerships, you guys, loneliness, stepping back and slowing down, and then understanding awareness of who you are as an operator. Are you a guy that wants to do 3 flips a year and make $300,000 a year and in a nice market? Or are you a guy that wants to do 100 wholesales a year and grow a massive company? Like, what is your actual goal? That's the number one response, is what do you actually want? Not what did you see Max Maxwell's YouTube channel say about a real estate company? What do you want in your real estate company? Do you want a massive team? Or do you simply want to make a couple $100,000 a year, live a good life, and be self-employed? Because you can do that with 5, 10 wholesales a year, or 3 or 4 flips a year. You don't need a massive team. So don't glorify what you see online, even though it looks cool. Have awareness of what you want internally for yourself and your business. And the last one I will leave to you guys, and I put out a post about this week, is likability. Are you easy to work with? If you are easy to work with, you will have more opportunities open up to you than you can imagine. People like working with you. What that comes down to is don't be a dick and don't trade short-term profits for long-term reputation. It's a small world we live in. Real estate, but any business is a small world, and bad actors get phased out quickly. So you want to make sure you have very good awareness of how you're treating other people in the business when you're frustrated, when you're angry, when you're upset, when you're let down. Even employees, like in one of my businesses, we have an internal hiring process, and in that hiring process, I'm very diligent on. Even if we're not going to hire someone, we want that interview process to be the best experience they've ever had, because they're going to go out in the world and tell people about our company and how we treat people. So treating people, and this is a big reason my partnerships over the years have had issues from time to time, is because myself, even as a leader of a company, I didn't set that precedent from the get-go, and I didn't make it known in the organization of, hey, here's how we treat people. And when you guys have that, the amount of doors open to me, just because I treat people the right way, employees, ex-employees, partners, vendors, resources, opens up a lot of doors. And so you want to make sure you're engaging the world and in a manner that serves relationships, and that'll be a massive help to you long term. Because if you're likable, right, if you are aware of who you are as an entrepreneur and a business owner, if you're not afraid to be lonely and go through the ups and downs, and if you are going to partner very strategically, and you can step back and slow down and actually fill gaps and not be emotional towards your business, you can do what you want in this business. But most of the things that are troubling you right now, if you're watching this video, you have the answer to. Okay. Yes, I have coaching courses. I have programs, and they're awesome. People love them. And of course, I'm incentivized to sell them. But don't go join a coaching program, you guys. A lot of you guys, I don't mean don't join whatever, but be very careful about exactly what resource or knowledge gap you're filling. If you're joining a program and you can't name what issue you are joining that program to solve in your business, don't join it. Anytime I go pay a coach, like I have personal executive coaches, anytime I go pay a coach, a consultant, I come to them with a problem I'm looking to fix or something I'm trying to improve on as a person, okay, or a company. I don't come to them saying, hey, make me rich. And so if you guys are going to sign up for one of these programs or coaches that are out there, make sure you're going to fill a specific need for your business or for yourself as a leader. That'll get you a lot further. So if you can do those things, you guys, you'll have a very good experience growing a business to however big you want to grow it. And I have full belief you can. But trust me, slow down. Don't be afraid to be lonely. Don't partner for no reason. Be aware of who you are as a business owner and be likable, and don't be a dick. And you guys, those 4 things, those 4 core tenets will take you further than you can ever imagine in business, especially in the business of real estate and how small this world is. Thanks for sticking around, you guys, for 11, 12 minutes during the show, as always. And I mentioned this in the intro of the show, but I'm very, very big on implementation. When I read a book, when I listen to a podcast, I don't just consume information to consume it. I implement that knowledge right away. I think of books and podcasts and things of that nature as, I guess, I'll call it resources with a finite timeline. So if I read a book and I don't implement that book in that week or next week, I'm gonna forget that. And that to me was just information porn, information masturbation, which I don't need any more of. So if you guys are watching this episode, please listen to it again. Implement the stuff that I send out every single week. I truly do this because I think the stuff you guys can take and implement right away to make more money, grow your companies, and serve more sellers, flip, develop, wholesale, do whatever you guys are going to do with your real estate companies or build that portfolio. So as always, you guys, a like, a review, a testimonial means the world. Send me a DM. I get a lot of DMs from you guys saying what tweaks you want on the show, what topics you want me to cover. I really appreciate all of that. So keep those coming. And then follow me across socials, you guys. Everything we do, we give away for free. The stuff that we sell is more hand-holding, so kind of taking it from A to Z. But for these episodes, you guys, I don't hold anything back. So again, as always, like I like to say, you are only one deal away.